Can you hear it? Can you hear the thunder? What's up, witches? So glad you're here. I'm Luna, if you're new here. First thing I want to say is that we have storms rolling through, if you didn't just hear that, and that means that anything can happen. So if anything does happen, I will do my best to get back on as quickly as possible. They're not going to be here that long. They should be moving through pretty quickly, but there was like a big red patch heading right for us. So could you hear it, Tavia? Yeah, I'm so glad. So if I disappear, I will do my best to get back on quickly. It takes between 5 and 10 minutes to get everything booted back up and all the apps open and all that kind of stuff. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Happy spring. Oh, happy spring up in the northern hemisphere. Happy fall down in the southern hemisphere. Hi, Stephanie. Welcome. Hi, baby Joe. Yay. No, it's not a soundtrack. It's her soundtrack out there. Yeah. Oh, looky. I got to show you something. So with spring hitting and the light now overcoming the dark, my system and my adrenals just wake up and I start cleaning things. So you see my altar back here. On Saturday, I had 5 hours. And I mean, this is how bad fall and winter were for me. I had not cleaned my altar since Samhain. Usually before every one of the 8 quarters, or the quarters and the cross quarters, I clean the entire altar. Sometimes I have to do 1 shelf a day, but 5 hours to clean every single thing. And I had to redo some stuff because some lights bailed out on me. But what I ended up doing is putting more lighting on. So looky, it's really bright and really pretty. And yes, I will let it go through its colors. So it now has a strip of LEDs at the back of each shelf on top and also at the front on top. And down here, I don't know if you can see right at the tip of my finger right there, there is a beautiful, glorious crown with crystals on it hanging, and it just looks so nice. So very happy about it. Hello, Sherry. Hello, Sammy Doe. I want to say Sammy Doe because my niece is a Samantha and her middle name is Doe, so we call her Sammy Doe. Sammy Deer is what I wanted to say there. I'm so glad you're here. I am so glad you're here, and I'm so glad that the seasons have changed and that it's spring. We have a true stellium in Pisces going on. So Mercury has come up and joined Jupiter and Neptune. They are all within a 7-degree span, so it is a true stellium in Pisces. The sun, of course, now is into Aries, so we're celebrating Aries season tonight. And so, yay for psychic readings. Mercury in Pisces, are you kidding me? It can also make it really hard to get a grip on words, so we'll see how that goes. And, Jupiter and Neptune conjunct the old and the new rulers of Pisces conjuncting each other with Mercury coming in. It's amazing. And these are all sitting in my 5th house right now. They might just be scooting. I can't remember. It's terrible. I can't remember the exact degree of my 5th house, but that stellium is moving into my 5th house. So playtime. Woohoo! Hi, Capricorn Moon. Welcome. So happy to see you all. All right, let's take a look at what we got going on. You see with the other spring cleaning I've done that I changed my desktop here and cleaned things up, and it looked okay, but ooh, it was dirty. You can only wipe fabric so much, But anyway, it was great to just peel everything away, clean from the foundation on up, reset things. It feels great. All right. Tonight, I kind of went all over the map with decks. I had, things showing themselves to me. This one was the first one that presented itself that wanted to show up tonight. And then, I get so hung up sometimes on themes that it's like, oh, trying to make everything match. And Nah, we're just grabbing decks that sound like they might want to play tonight. So, and ones that I've never gone for before, because the great advantage to me in doing these evenings is that I get to play with decks that I don't normally play with. You know, I get to really take things out and give them a run. So it makes me very happy. All righty. Okay, well, here we go. Here we go, Tavia. Let's introduce our decks. Hello, Deb. I'm so glad to see you. Let's introduce our decks. Right here, a deck that I have not used on this before. Dun, 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 the Dolly Tarot. Yes, and see, now this looks, I mean, it looks kind of blue. This is really purple, and this is purple as well. It looks very blue on camera to me. So, my grand and glorious Dolly Tarot. So excited about that one. Now I got to juggle things because I've got my water here, and I just made some coffee, and I just almost put my shoulder out of joint. Oh, God. Okay, second deck, you guys might recognize. This is the Morgan Grier. And an interesting side story, and I'm going to go get something and show you. I'll be right back. I meant to do this before I hit the go button, I forgot. So I got a thing in the mail, this mailer that, you know, big cardboard flat mailer, which was bulky. It obviously had something in it and had something on the front about veterans. You know, I know they were looking for donations for veterans, and I'm thinking, okay, what are they sending me, a flag or something? And I open it up, and there's a pair of socks and a tote bag, like a grocery tote bag with a flaggy thing, and you know, and it's like, oh, please send our veterans money. And these kind of things really piss me off, because immediately I'm thinking, I don't have money to donate. Please take that money that you spent buying socks and tote bags and postage and mailers and give it straight to the veterans. Could we do that, please? But I'm keeping the socks because they are going to be my Morgan Grier socks. Hell yeah. And there they go. Okay. So we have the Morgan Grier Tarot, a classic that I've only just gotten in the last, you know, year or so. I'm starting to fill in kind of the historical layer of my collection, and it's really fun. Okay, the Starseed Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. I've also started hunting on YouTube to see how many of these authors have YouTube channels. And I found Ciola Thompson, I think that's how you pronounce her name, and not her own channel, but she was doing an interview on a channel called On Doubt. And she was talking about somebody that, some fucking sniper that just made a horrible comment to her and kind of put her off doing gallery shows, to our benefit, because then she went and made decks. She is the artist and author of the Otherkin Tarot, the Line Strider Tarot, the is she Hedge Witch Oracle? I think so. Yes, Hedge Witch. Okay. So anyhow, what a gorgeous soul. What a beautiful, wonderful woman. So I'm really happy to kind of start connecting with these people. Alana Fairchild has a channel, and, you know, my creative jealousy comes up when I see Alana because she's just incredible. But listening to her speak and everything, she's the real deal. She's awesome. Okay. Next is the Tarot of the Hidden Realm by Julia Jeffrey and Barbara Moore. Gorgeous, gorgeous deck. One of the first ones that I modified. Then we have the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. And I had another deck here. Actually, I had this one here. And then I started thinking, wait a minute, it's Aries season. We need a really sunny deck. And I had thought about this earlier in the day, you know, fiery decks, and I don't really have a lot of fiery decks. But this one came screaming in, and it's like, hell yes, the Oracle of the Radiant Sun for Aries season is perfect. And then Tavia, the last one here, is the Wisdom of Avalon Oracle cards by Colette Baron-Reid. First of her decks that I got, and now I'm reminded that I have coffee brewing because I picked up that box and it was warm. It's next to my coffee pot. Hold on. I love to hear the rain. And let's give you a little. I'm trying to fool my brain because the low pressure centers coming through are giving me a slight headache. And I've already had tea this afternoon, so I can't do any more caffeine. So I'm going to try to fool my head into thinking I'm drinking caffeine. Hi, Becca. I'm so glad you're here, sweetie. And then this other deck that's down here, so let me move this one with the beautiful gold edges. Wisdom of Avalon. And then we are going to use the Earthbound Oracle as a clarifier deck. Okay? I unboxed this recently. So we're going to keep that one out here so we can clarify. Let's, where's my little, there it is. Knocking shit over all over the place, oh my God. Okay, good. I'm so glad, Becca. Okay, I want to say something about that. If you listen to my either my live streams or I fix it on my videos, but if you come to my live streams and you listen with headphones, you may notice that you only get one side really and the other side's a lot lower. That's because I have something going wrong. I decided to try the cheap thing first, and I bought a new cord for my Yeti, and it wasn't the cheap thing. So it is either my computer or the microphone, both very expensive things. Pray for me. So if anybody feels inclined to donate, to dig deep, go for it. But right now, let's have a smoke cleanse. I keep my little woodpecker feather here, and I know I don't ever use it, but it's also, it's just, you know, it's an air thing. Light 'em if you got 'em. I offer you this sacred sage, that by air and fire you may be purified and charged. And this ocean water, that by water and earth you be blessed and made whole. And let's have a clearing bell for spirit. And let's focus in here. Do your grounding. Send a root down. Get yourself comfortable. Get down into your body. Easier said than done with all this Pisces energy. Let those vibrations go out and clear the space that you're sitting in. All negative vibrations are being cleansed away and gathered into this tone where they can come into alignment. And now let's bring yourself into this space, this time, this place, fully present in your body, in the here and now. And with the third bell, let's set our intention to get information that is useful and insightful and fun. And guides and guardians, allies and ancestors, thank you. Always welcome. Thank you for being here every single day and for caring for me the way you do. I offer you this fresh water in a brand new green vessel, and I offer you the fire of Azrael, which I'm going to waft over my decks. Waft. wafting and coffee. We're going to start with the astrology dice to set our tone. And I want to say, if you haven't watched the full moon video from last week, please do so. I've been suffering from Cassandra syndrome lately because I do full moon, new moon charts and stuff, and I've done a bunch of those, but this particular full moon was just spectacular. It was just incredible. And so I'm talking to my kids, do you watch the video of the full moon? No. Other people, did you watch the video of the full moon? No. And I'm like, you guys, come on, I do this work, and it's like they say a prophet is never listened to in their own land, and it's like, yeah, your family doesn't give a shit. Yeah, she did another video, whatever. So, okay. Give them a little breath and see what our frame is for tonight. What energies are we opening the door to? All right. Interesting. We have Venus in Taurus. Lovely. Lovely sensual energies. Also, if you go to watch that video, check out the comments from a person named Marion. I'm assuming a woman. Fabulous comments, because I'm discussing things on a very spiritual, broad, global level, and they were really bringing it down to, this aspect is, the global economy going at, they were really dialing it into these mundane topics. And Tavia, my friend Tavia, is a fabulous astrologer, and she does that as well. So look for those comments when you're looking at chart reading. All right. So we've got Venus in Taurus, Venus the ruler of Taurus. So we're coming to second house matters here. Venus is our affection. It's the attraction principle. So if you look at Venus and Mars, Mars is pushing out, Venus is gathering in. Mars is passion, I want it. Venus is come to me. Come to me. So the attraction principle, beauty. What attracts us? Beauty attracts us. Sensuality, things that please the senses are what attracts us, and Venus rules the senses. So, everything that is pleasurable, that looks good, tastes good, sounds good, smells good, feels good, those are all Venusian things. And so these things that attract us, or that we wish to attract to us, represent our value system as well. So it's a great thing to look at whether our value system, with what we say with what we say we want and what we say we like, if that is represented in, for instance, how we spend our money. All of these things work together. What we value, what we love, and Venus is also how we show love, how we show our affections. Mars would be how you express sexuality, Pluto as well. But Venus is how you express affection. When you like someone, when you love someone, how do you show it? Venus in Taurus is absolutely that, value system and being attracted to all of the sensual pleasures on a very practical level. If you ever want to have like the best of whatever for like a party or something, and budget is not a concern, send a Taurus or a Taurus rising to do the shopping. I had an experience once where someone that worked under me had to go, we had a keyboard that was battery, and they said, the keyboard croaked and they had to go get one. And I said, get a corded one, get a cheap corded one. I have a really difficult time putting batteries in things that could be plugged in. It's so wasteful. So I sent them. This was a Libra with Taurus rising, and they bought the most expensive thing. which they then brought back and it didn't work. So we had to go back and get the cheap corded one anyway. But yes, if you want something, you know, to the best of beauty and sensuality, send a Taurus. But we're in the 12th house here. So the 12th house is classically in astrology, it's called the house of your self-undoing. So we can talk about how we get very wrapped up in the material and how we are just, you know, maybe expressing love in material ways rather than emotional ways, rather than ways that, you know, the person really needs. And you know, this can also talk about the alignment of how we show affection, and is that how the person we love feels affection, you know, the whole love language thing. But the 12th house here is, of course, spirituality and psychicness, it's connectedness, it's the things that are, it's the unconscious, it's the things that are hidden. So let's see here. Venus in the 12th would make it difficult to show affections. It's kind of like what we hide, or what we hoard, what we keep to ourselves. Taurus, well, Taurus on the 12th, these two go together because Taurus ruling the 12th house is ruled by Venus, so same deal. And here comes Tavia, escaping into sensuality. Thank you, my love. Very good. So yes, Pisces, hear me searching for words here. Pisces in 12th house is escapism in all forms. So this would be escaping into sensual pleasures. Could be the reason I put back all the weight that I lost over the pandemic. Who's with me? So yes, escaping into sensual pleasures, escaping into just, you know, feeding the senses rather than feeding the spirit. So we need to find that balance here between body and spirit. That's a big one here. The balance between the things that my spirit, or that my body is craving, the things that I want to go to, the sensual pleasures that I want to go to so that I don't have to feel uncomfortable emotions that I'm feeling, those things that keep me from accessing the deeper spiritual stuff. So what is it that we're trying to cover? What is it that we're covering with, you know, I'm having a miserable time spiritually. I've got a bunch of stuff coming up, bubbling up from the underground well, bubbling up from the unconscious. And rather than feel that, I'm going to stuff it back down with food, you know. I'm going to drown it in alcohol. I'm going to shop. I'm going to shop till I drop to feed the void, you know. 12th house is also that sense of loss and emptiness and abandonment and the void, the abyss. So what sensual, physical things are we doing in order to try to fill this void? And how do we find the balance between caring for our bodies and delighting in, you know, the wealth that we have available to us, the sensual pleasures we have available to us, without it becoming an escape? Using those things even as a gateway to the spiritual. All right? Okay. Samantha hides the snickerdoodles. You're hilarious, honey. You are adorable and hilarious. Okay, let's move on. So, little red dye. There we are. There, baby. Okay. If you haven't seen it before, this is my tiny, tiny little dye. Okay. Who would like to come up first? Okay, I have to ground. I find myself, okay, grounding. Number one, Dolly wants to come up first, and I knew that. I have been psychic as hell lately, to the point where yesterday I went to a grocery store and I was coming home and I have to cross this 2-lane highway, and I'm sitting at the light and there's a guy across from me and he's got a left turn signal on. And I'm sitting there at the red light waiting for it to change, and I'm looking at this guy going, "You're going to turn in front of me, aren't you? You're going to turn left in front of me. I know it." And I even look down to make sure I don't accidentally have a turn signal on or something. and the light turns green, I proceed slowly, because this intersection is terrible. So I proceed slowly and carefully, and he turns right the fuck in front of me. So I just laid on my horn as he was threading the needle and gave him the eh. But, you know, when an itty bitty purple tie with sparkles, yes. I know your snickerdoodles are good, baby. Your snickerdoodles bringing the boys to your yard. Okay. All right, I'm laughing my ass off. So when I asked this deck who wanted to come out and play, Dolly himself came out, the Magician, as did the Eight of Cups and the Five of Swords. So this deck wants to talk to us about loss and a sense of loss of power. Five of Swords is about power and can be about abuse of power. And then the Magician. So questions of what power do we hold? Where are we feeling at a loss emotionally? Where are we feeling that we maybe don't have? Or where are we grasping for power because we feel this loss? And then, of course, whatever comes out is what comes out. So I'm glad you like that, Samantha, dear. Okay. You know what? Give him a knock and a kiss. Oop, somebody wants out. All right, we're going to go with these. We've got 4 here. I have to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This is the 9 of Pentacles. Then we have the 3 of Cups. El Colgado, the Hanged Man. And then we've got the 4th one here, the Devil. Holy moly. Okay. So we're talking about independence. The ability, this is recently, another little sidetrack, sorry. Recently, I have been restudying. I've been deep diving on the Tarot, restudying. I'm reading Rachel Pollack's 78 Degrees of Wisdom, which is amazing. I'm reading Paul Foster Case's book. I'm reading A.E. Waite and Eden Gray, and there's just all kinds of things. And in one of those, I think it was in Rachel Pollack, she was talking about the 9s being the pinnacle, the culmination of the suits, and the 10s rolling over into the next, decan, as it were. The 10s being sort of over the edge, going over the edge. So the 9 here culminates in satisfaction, is what I feel when I look at this card. This material satisfaction. So here we are with our Venus and Taurus. Okay, wait, I'm trying to put everybody, we'll remember. You'll remember, right? So what kind of satisfaction are we getting from our material success? And the 3 of Cups here does say satisfaction. And so this is an invitation here to please, yes, celebrate the wonderful things that we have, the material wealth that we enjoy in this country relative, to the rest of the world. We definitely feel a great deal of joy and satisfaction. And then we've got the Hanged Man here. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to fit it to too many things. Hang on. The Devil coming up here. I want these in 3s. Odd numbers are dynamic. Even numbers are yin. Odd numbers are yang. Odd numbers always have that. There's that extra dangling. It's not symmetrical. You can't divide it equally in half. And so there's a dynamic energy to it. So we've got Hanged Man. We're hanging out here. We need a change of perspective on our material goods and the joy and the pleasure that we take from these things. And I know what this is talking about. Okay. Then we've got the Devil here saying it's got more control of us than we have of it. So this does talk about where we escape, or where our focus on the material as our source of pleasure is gaining control over us and sending us in a direction that maybe we don't want to go. So Hanged Man says it's time to turn things over. And hold on. All right, Hanged Man here is talking about our lack of control. It is saying that we are not absolutely in control of our materials, of the source of our material things. And I know what this is talking about. And here we go, global. Ukraine is Europe's breadbasket. It is the greatest grower and exporter of wheat in Europe, the whole of Europe. What happens if farmers cannot get their crops in the ground because they're being invaded? We have not begun to see the ramifications of this invasion. You know, think about it's now when things need to be planted, or soon at least. And what happens if things can't get planted now? What happens in 6 months? What happens in 9 months in Europe? So one of the things I want to say to you, sidestepping here and with the Venus in Taurus and this Nine of Pentacles, is if you have the wherewithal, I would be planning ahead food-wise, because things are going to get more expensive. That's just what I feel. So the Hanged Man says we don't necessarily have control. We aren't necessarily always going to be able to access this wealth that brings us so much pleasure. So if we are addicted to it, as the Devil says here, if it's got more control over us, if that's what controls our mood and how we feel, our deep well-being, there's the 12th house, our deep unconscious well-being, then we're in trouble. We're in big trouble. So, okay, catching up with some, gonna have some coffee and catch up with you. Let's see here. Where we feel we don't have the resources, yes. There's skills and talents that we're being called on to use. And again, the Gathering card, it may feel like this is a time of stuck in this, but it isn't. It's just a time to cross your cross your T's, dot your I's, getting ready to step out of the cocoon. Yeah, we have a lot is coming due. If you watch that video of the chart, the karmic bill is coming due. I still do feel like we're going to see something nuclear. I mean, do we really have to? The atrocities are enough. And I don't want to go down that way. Let's come back to here. So overall, all right, Tavia, Jessica Murray says America's problem is that we think wealth is our source of power, but it isn't. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wealth might be equivalent to power. Wealth gives access to power. It gives a certain kind of power, but it's not true power. True power is something that can't be taken away. Material wealth can be snatched away from you in a heartbeat. We have no control. It's not something so here we go. Yes, absolutely, you guys, you're bang on. Our material wealth and the pleasure that it gives us is not something that is in fact under our control. So we need to look at how to unhook our subconscious mind from being tied into this idea that the stuff that we have is where we derive our happiness. We need to go far deeper than that. I'm going to take some of the Earthbound Oracle just for funsies. Okay. Oop. Come on. I'm just going to do like think of this and of that. Secrets and intuition. Ooh, okay. So there's 12th house stuff. Give me another one. Guide. Wow. Holy moly. All right, you guys. So it is really time to go deep diving. The Venus in Taurus in the 12th talks about, and the focus on the material here is guiding us to shore up our resources, our personal resources. And ask the questions like, if things got real shitty, like super shitty, where would we go? What would we do? Who would we rely on? And really have those conversations with those people. You know, if you have family, if you have friends and you're like, oh, I know they've got a farm and I could go there, have those conversations. Because we really need to come out of our collective daydream here that we're always going to have whatever we need in the US. We are spoiled fucking brats here. And we are so used to having what we need delivered to our door in a day, sometimes even the same day. It's incredible. So we're so used to that if we got caught out and suddenly that's not there, what would we do? So that's what's being called to, and we have arcana, intuition, and guide. Secrets and intuition. This is all 12th house stuff, and there's a guide there for us. So it is absolutely time to connect with our guides and look at where those 12th house, that subconscious, that radar, can guide us to the connections that we need to make in order to shore up our boundaries, shore up our personal resources, take care of our own. Right? Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, Dolly. Ooh, I love this deck. Yes, I do love this deck. I coveted it for so long because I had the book that I got from the Dolly Museum in St. Petersburg, I believe it is, Florida. And the only thing I could afford was the book, which was like $50. The deck was ridiculous at the time. So no, got to do the dice. So, but it's the way it sits on my shelf, because it's so massive, it hides behind these scarves that I have hanging, and I kind of forget that it's there. All right. We think money is our source of wealth, and it's not. No, it's not. And it's not Ukraine's source of wealth. Ukraine's source of wealth is the resources that it has and the farmland that it has that are now being actively destroyed. And true power does not lie outside of us. That's right. True power is going inward. Absolutely. True power is power within. And when you tap into that power within rather than power over, when you tap into the power within you, then you are able to feel power with. You are able to share. It comes from a place of security because it's uniquely yours and it's something that can't be taken away. It's kind of like the difference between spending your money on stuff and spending your money on experiences. The experiences can never be taken from you. The stuff can be gone in a heartbeat. Okay. You can't give if you don't allow yourself to receive. You got that right. It's a circle. Who's up next? Oop, number 5. You just see it right there. It says number 5. The Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Oh, I have something else to tell you. This little bottle here, as I was setting things on here, and it's like, fire stuff. I need fire stuff. I was going to put a piece of obsidian here, but this is ash from Mount St. Helens. You want to talk about kicking a spell in the ass? It's amazing because it's like heavy. I mean, do you see the way it kind of goes thunk in the bottom of the bottle? And there's nothing really flying around there, so it just kind of... It's incredibly fine and very gritty. And I mean, it's so fine. And you think, oh, soft powder, but then you feel it and it's very gritty. So, but very powerful. So when I asked this deck what it wanted to talk about, it told me independence. It wants to talk about independence. So what have we been talking about so far? Unhooking from our addiction to material things, becoming independent. I like my widow dice too. Okay, so Radiant Sun, they don't shuffle all that well. Oop. Let's see if I can give them a couple shuffles anyhow. I'm gonna try it again because I'm stubborn. Oh. So, the Independence card is Moon in Aquarius. We're on a Sag moon tonight, so more fire. Let me kind of move her over here someplace. You will never get me to stop rearranging the furniture, folks. Sorry. Okay. Who else is here that we haven't seen? Come on, check in and say hi. Join the group. Join the group vibe. Let us know who you are. Oh, by the way, I hit 1,500 today. Ooh, 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 ooh. Pow! I wish I had one of those little confetti poppers to celebrate these milestones. Okay. Back down in the body. All right, they want me to stop. And they're telling me off the top. Indecision, concentration, and bluff. What? Okay, so Venus in Libra, indecision, independence, bluff. Okay, I want clarifiers. What are we talking about here? We've got Venus in Libra, we've got Saturn in Gemini and Jupiter in Gemini, all air signs. Moon in Aquarius, we've got Gemini, and Libra. So everything's coming up air here. So we want to talk about our ideas, how we think about things, what we're indecisive about, what we're trying to bluff our way out of. Concentration. So the concentration in the middle says we need to focus in. Okay, there we go. Ooh, that says reflect. Okay, so indecision comes because we need to think a little bit more. And I would like another clarifier for bluff, please. Okay, you wanted to come out. Cycle. All right. And let's see. Gift and home. Give me a mo. Being pulled back to the Hanged Man, about indecision here, just kind of hanging out and going, all right, I'm looking at independence here as, you know, freedom. In order to be able to make decisions, to act independently of our the needs that we have, this Venus and Taurus thing of, you know, needing to feed the sensual pleasures, needing to escape in that way. And how do we become independent? Well, we need to concentrate. Look at gift and home here. We need to recognize that, I talked about this last week, recognize how we are gifted, that we do have a home, we have a place to live, we have a roof over our heads. I've got this incredible technological gear that I can do this with. I can, you know, I have too much food to eat and I eat too much food. We've got to recognize the gifts that we have, and that's what we concentrate on. The greater gifts of our material world. It's not about just the, you know, what we're using to help swallow our emotions. It's the fact that we have a home. And what does home mean? To me, it's the people, it's the family. And what a gift that is. And, you know, gift here has an apple on it. So we are talking about food and the joy that that brings. And, you know, the thing is, I don't want to bring a bunch of shame onto sensual pleasures, because why? You know, why would we do that? We don't need to shame ourselves about what we're doing in order to cope and survive, right? In order to keep ourselves okay. In order to sort of swallow down the fear, sometimes we got to chase it with Dove Dark, right? So I don't want to bring shame in, but I think we need to look at how we can focus on what a gift we do have, whatever our resources are, whatever level we live at, recognize the gifts that we have and what we call home. And I notice, you know, the home card here is a turtle, and it's got bird's nests on its back. So even if you carry your home on your back, can you recognize the gifts that you've been given? Indecision here and reflecting, I'm still kind of hazy on that. And bluff and cycle. I don't know, you guys. Okay, if you want to change your life, start by changing your mind. Absolutely. What you're doing in the mental realm and how to connect to it more clearly within the divine realm. There you go. Okay. So, I want something else here. Indecision. I've got isolation here. So we have indecision and isolation. We feel like maybe it's all on us. And here's the thing. When we think about independence in this country, in Western culture, independence is king. You know, from a time a baby is born, everybody's pointed out, are they sleeping on their own through the night yet? Are they holding their own bottle? Are they independent yet? The whole push is for independence, and that's where we stop. When kids become independent, we're done. But that's not the highest developmental level. The highest developmental level is interdependence, how we take care of each other. So this indecision and is about isolation. You know, we want to, but what does independence mean to us? Does it mean isolation? That's not what independence is. Independence is being able to, as Samantha was saying, think clearly, to be able to separate your mental processes from you know, the things that you're so attracted to and addicted to. There's that devil and Venus going on there. So it's time that we reflect on what independence means to us. I'm still hazy on the indecision thing here. I can't decide what that means. But isolation, reflect on the fact that independence does not equal isolation. It doesn't mean going it alone. It means being tapped into that inner power. It means being empowered. So I know my own mind. I know my preferences. I know what I think. I know what I believe. And I can be in relationship with you. I can be interdependent with other people without compromising those things, without compromising my belief system and my value system and my, you know, my boundaries and my standards. we can have these individual boundaries and standards, being independent there, but not going into isolation. Now let's look at what bluff is saying over here. We have bluff and cycle. Ostentation. Ooh, bluff and ostentation. Talking about putting on that show. Keeping up with the Joneses. Putting on the show that we, and this covers up this, you know, this bottomless pit, this 12th house where we feel we are unworthy, where we hide all of our shame and our low self-esteem and our unworthiness and our abandonment issues and all this stuff. We cover it up. We bluff our way through with this ostentatious show. We've got Saturn in Taurus here and Saturn in Virgo here. Look at Saturn, Saturn, Saturn. Ooh, these are karmic things. And the cycle here says what goes around comes around. That there, you know, there's karma to everything, and we can put on this bluff of, you know, we're wealthier than we are because we're covering up a, you know, a lack of self-love. So there's that Venus thing again, material things and affection, self-love. Self-love is what the foundation of our value system needs to be. My values are based on the fact that I love myself, and so my standards come from there. I love myself, and therefore, I will not allow someone to treat me this way. Those are boundaries. I love myself, therefore, I am going to take care of myself in such a way that I can bring my best forward at all times. I can shine that light of self-love around. So again, the question of independence, it's like, what do we do with our resources? What do we do with our value system? How do we value our home? And this is a reminder here that as we bluff our way through and we try to bluff ourselves away from the fear of losing our material status, this says cycles, the wheel is turning. Cycles are changing. What goes around comes around. So again, I want to say, I really strongly feel, and I'm getting a big spotlight on September. I really strongly feel that financially, economically, globally, economically, we haven't begun to see what the repercussions are going to be. So we need to stop bluffing. We need to concentrate. And we need to take all this Saturn energy and be responsible for our home, the gifts that we have. How can we make our home, our surroundings truly reflect what our values are? How can we do that? How can we... Hold on, I need to hear some drums. There we go. How can we bring all of these things into congruency? Step away from indecision about things, quit bluffing ourselves and putting on a show that we don't really feel. So again, we have this going back to the deep dive into the 12th house and really looking at what's at the foundation of our value system. What do we really believe, and do our material surroundings reflect those beliefs? Woof, that was something. What do you guys think? Okay, here we go. Difference between taking pleasure in the senses and overgorging the senses. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep, that's what we were talking about, the addiction to material things. And yes, there definitely are others that are trying to bluff us. But this to me is like, this is the U.S. This is the U.S. We've got this, yeah. Again, I don't want to dig deeply into politics here. Can we get away from it? Holy shit. I just think if we spent, imagine, if we took the amount that we spend on the machines of war and spent that money on people instead. Okay. Nicely done, nicely done. Thank you, dear. Yeah. Oh, Samantha, absolutely trying to hide that the Emperor has no clothes. Abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah. We've got a lot of reckoning coming, you guys. There's a big fucking reckoning coming. There's no doubt about it. And you know, my first reaction to that is, oh shit, duck and cover, what are we gonna do? But then my next reaction is, what a time to be alive. You know, this is our historic time right now. This is it. This is what's going to be in the history books. And we get a chance to maybe influence that. But yeah, these cards are very cool. They have, and I can't remember what they are, but like, do you see how these are sort of divided? 1/3, 2/3, and then we have ones that have a diamond, and we have ones that are divided in half, and we have ones that have a little tiny banner at the bottom. So there's a system to them that's very interesting, and I cannot remember it now. But yeah, it's a very cool deck. I got this deck up in Michigan. I went to visit my sister, and we were at this wonderful little metaphysical store, and I was buying myself some amber incense because I have had a nugget of it that I've been holding on to since the 80s. I take tiny little pinches and put it on. And I was buying that, and I turned around. I looked at the decks, and no, I don't need a deck. And I looked, and it was down at the bottom. It's like, I've never seen that before, and I went and grabbed it. So, okay. Who's up next? Okay, let's see here. Remember, this is holographic. We have to deal with our piece of what is being contributed to society, because if we're all in one way or another a holographic, hell yes. By changing our little piece of it, we can change the whole. Yep, absolutely. We're into quantum, you know. We're stepping into a quantum reality now. And that is holographic, that every piece contains the whole. So, I hardly agree with you there, Samantha. There's a 5 again. No. There's a 1 again. Give me a different one, you guys. 2. Now, Morgan Grier. And I love the Earthbound as clarifiers. I'm just now, you know, I've always just used the deck that I'm using for clarifier. So it's amazing that, you know, this is such a trend, and some of the trendiness is odious, but it's so wonderful because there's so many young readers to watch, and I love to see what they're doing and how they're, you know, changing the way we do what we do. I keep trying to blow my candle out with the cards. These are fun to shuffle, I'm not going to lie. Aye. There we go. What do you have to tell us? This deck I did not interview. We'll do our little 6-card one here. So we've got the 4 of Cups, the 10 of Cups, and the 6 of Cups. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune and the 2 of Cups. Well, okay, so we are absolutely talking about dealing with our emotions. How are we feeling about all this stuff? 10 in the middle there talks about what is going to be, what's the ultimate for us? And you know what? No, we'll just keep doing here. Okay. So first of all, we've got kind of this feeling of withdrawal, overwhelm, disappointment, you know, dissatisfaction. Okay, so this is talking about our grumbling dissatisfaction that we try to fill with all, pardon me, I should have just burped right into the microphone, you know. Sorry, you guys. Okay, so our grumbling dissatisfaction with whatever, with the fact that, you know, life isn't perfect, is something that we constantly deal with. And it is one of the things that we really go to the sensual pleasures in order to cover it, in order to distance ourselves from it, in order to try to feel satisfied. We're looking for an ideal. We're looking for the best. We're looking for these little things, you know, we're trying to cover, not just cover our dissatisfaction, but we're looking for the ultimate buzz. The 10 of Cups there is like, no, I want the ultimate, you know, what's the peak experience, bucket list, oh, you know, destination wedding. Yow. And then we have the Six of Cups, wanting to go back to the way things were. Oh, both of these, you guys. This is the human condition right here, the dissatisfaction. This is the constantly chasing the past, chasing the way things were. Gosh, if it was only the way it used to be. And this was on my mind today as well. Sorry, I have to make them straight. You know me. There, we're squared up now, I hope. But okay, now what was it that was on my mind today? I just lost it. Hold on. I was talking about chasing the past. That all right, I lost it. Wow, that's a bummer. I'm looking at the notes to see, did I put all right, anyway, we've got the Wheel of Fortune here saying the wheel is turning, things are changing. We had the Cycles card saying things are changing, things are on the move. This is fate in action. What's fate? Fate is karma. Fate is the unavoidable. So even though the wheel is turning and in constant motion, the wheel can't suddenly like veer off and go turn this way. The wheel turns and turns and turns. It's kind of an inevitable thing that if you go down, you're going to come up. If you're coming up, you're going to go down. There's inevitability about these cycles and the way things are changing. So we try to cover our dissatisfaction by looking for the ultimate in things, and we also are constantly chasing the past. If things, oh, this is it. This is what I was going to say. We have to really come to terms to the fact that we're not going back to things the way they were. We're not. Things have changed inevitably and moved forward to a place where we will not be able to go back to the way things were pre-pandemic, pre-invasion. We're not going back to that. We've seen too much at this point. We've seen too much of the ugly, and I also have to tell you that I am absolutely fucking dreading the midterms, you guys. I am dreading. Because that's where we're going to see how much damage has been done while we've been distracted. And I mean, we've been paying attention, but there's only how much crisis can you pay attention to. So this chasing the past, if only things could go back. You know, I will be ultimately happy if things can go back the way they were. But what if they don't? What if they don't? You know, I always think about people that have gone through terrible tragedy like this invasion, or like just, you know, a tornado comes through, or your wiring is faulty and your house burns down. Nothing that you could foresee, nothing that you can do anything about, that powerlessness. And having your foundation torn away from you in such an emphatic way that you can't even think about going back to the past. So that bluff, again, is how we fool ourselves into thinking that, you know, we can just, things are going to go back to this utopian time. I mean, the Republicans are trying to take us back to their utopian time of slavery, you know? Slavery and women not being able to have their own credit card. So the wheel is turning, inevitably. We cannot go back. Cycles come around and around. They're going to be different each time. And then the Two of Cups talks about decisions to be made then. How do we behave? And look at the Ace of Pentacles here. We start anew. We find a new foundation. We get our feet on the ground in a new way. it's just, we begin again, and we begin with just what we have. So there are a lot of fun mental exercises that you can do to get a big reframe that Hanged Man talks about, totally reframing the question. And one of them is projecting yourself forward to your funeral and looking at what you are so happy to hear people saying about you. Another one can be, imagine that you lose everything. It's all gone. And the only thing you have is whatever money you get from going to a job, or whatever money you get from, your retirement, whatever that is. What would you do? Where would you go? Where would you start? So answering those questions is what the Ace of Pentacles is talking about here. Getting practical. Venus and Taurus is the ultimate in practicality about resources and material things. And this is, look at all these cups, all this emotion funneling into the material. Venus and Taurus. Oh my God, you guys. So I hate to be, I feel like I'm sharing my affliction of disaster head with you guys every week, because I do tend to see, the worst and the disastrous. It's the way my brain is wired. It's Mercury conjuncting Pluto in Virgo. So yeah, I mean, we really do need to get our feet on the ground in a practical way. And even having our feet on the ground is an illusion here. Current astrology, Jupiter expansion, making it bigger, conjuncting Neptune. Yep, dream, illusion of perfection. Awesome. And Mercury, thoughts and ideas. So now we are bigly in a fog about how much we can have. We are in a fog. I mean, we are truly befogged and befuddled in this country. And people are, trying to move forward. This pandemic just broke our brains. It really did. Some of us are less broken than others. When you think about the fact that I don't even know what's going on with the fucking convoy that was circling around Washington. But when you have a gang of people that are willing to spend over $5 a gallon to put into these massive gas-guzzling semi-trucks and drive around and around and around protesting something that doesn't exist. There are no mandates. Nobody's forcing anybody to get vaccinated. Nobody's forcing anybody to wear masks. And holy shit, people are just like, I got all this feeling and I don't know what to do with it. So let's drive around and around. So the difference between the wheel here and the wheel here is this is the wheel that we are, that is driving us. We're on this wheel of time, this wheel of cycles, this wheel of karma. Round and round it goes. This is a smaller wheel, and look at how it's held in the hand. This is a wheel that we do have a choice about. This is a wheel that we do have a little bit of, at least the illusion of control over here. So looking at, how do we bust it down? I am on a mission. I'm going to be walking so many books out of this house in the next week or so. I got to make room for more decks, but that's beside the point. We have so many books that I never bought that just came in from sources, and they need to go, because I have been thinking about what if, we do need to downsize. There's no doubt about it. But how do we do that when we would not fit in a place? And I am determined to have the downsizing happen before our back is against the wall. It's kind of like, I think it's in Sweden where I can't remember what it's called, where people do a thing where you go and clean out your shit before you die, so the people you love aren't left with that terrible task of, oh my God, look at all the shit she had. What do we do with this? I don't want to deal with it. You don't leave that for your loved ones to deal with. So that's another thing that Wheel of Fortune can talk about. Think about, in the future, the people that you love, when they are grieving you, if they have to deal with the burden of your crap that, made you feel like you were not in crisis. Okay, let's see. even what we truly want or truly need. Plato's cave of being and becoming. Okay, so I would say Morgan Grier is done there. Are we really over an hour? Oh, holy shit, you guys. Let's see what just flew out of there now. Look at the Five of Wands and the Ace of Swords. We need to get our shit together. We need to coordinate. We need some way to stop these fucking jokers whose only purpose, it seems, is to throw goddamn monkey wrenches in because they are so severely addicted to money and how it makes them feel powerful that they are just fucking up the works. And the Ace of Swords says it's time for them to go. It's the beginning that comes from what you cut away. And the Republican Party, in my opinion, is no longer a valid political party. They have not done their job politically, the ones that have been voted in. The obstruction... Okay, anyway, we need to get our shit together, get these guys out of the way, because we can't move forward when everything is a struggle and a fight. Okay, we got 3 more to go. Number 4. Hidden Realms. All right. Get rid of 3 things each day. 3 months later, it's amazing. That's a great, yeah, you know, and that's another thing is how to bust overwhelm is don't do it all at once. If you just do one thing, you know. Fortunately, I got hit with a big wad of energy this weekend, took care of the altar one day, took care of my daughter who has moved out her room. It was starting to collect things again, got that cleared out so I can get to the bookshelf. So, yeah, 3 things each day is a wonderful idea. The problem, Samantha, yes, stop buying into everyone's drama, but when they are bringing that drama into process, you know, when that drama is taking over from the business at hand, you know, I didn't watch any of Ketanji Brown hearings because, why? Why would I do that? I know exactly what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. All the grandstanding. They're going to, you know, they use the opportunity, give them a microphone, they're going to quack, you know. So, we see this, all the grandstanding and the playing to their base and, you know, and it's power for power's sake. That's the thing, is it's power for power's sake. What do we want to do? What do they want to do with the power they're given? They want to keep it. Yeah, keep the power. We got to keep, you know, stay in office and keep winning elections and keep the power. There's no platform. There are no standards. I'm getting mad. Can you tell? Okay. Okay. Now, Hidden Realms. I did not interview this deck. What would you like to tell us about here? You don't want to go back in. 10 of Cups. What do you know? The 10 of Cups. Holy shit, you guys. All right. And then we have the 6 and the 9 of Swords. Ooh. Okay, so 10 of Cups, again, is sort of all of the emotions. I'm looking at that right now as even emotional overwhelm. It can be fulfillment, all of the things that bring us happiness and joy. And okay, look at what she's got here and look at the smoke coming up. This is talking about letting our emotional experiences take us to a deeper place. Take us into that place of the unconscious and you know, the 12th house stuff, to connect us with spirit, to connect us to each other. 6 of Swords talks about moving through rough waters, successfully transitioning, successfully navigating through difficult times. And then we have the 9 of Swords. Okay, these didn't want to come off the table, so I'm taking those. Which is the grief and the loss and the fear that we feel. Then we have the Page of Cups and the Knight of Swords. Okay. So Page of Cups is raw emotional energy, and it's also about really looking deeply within. So it takes that next step from the Ten of Cups. We feel the connection. We let our emotions take us to that place of connection. And then we also look within and see, you know, where voice, what we need to give voice to, bringing what's inside of us out. Between the Six of Swords and the Nine of Swords, so between successfully being able to move forward, navigate through rough waters, and the Nine of Swords can talk about just running out of impetus, just really being drained by all of the troubles, by grief, by worry. And Knight of Swords says it's time to pick up a sword here and move forward. All right, let's see what he says. Fire. Here's, yeah, baby. There's the Aries energy. There's the fire energy. So what do we do when we've got this, you know, we're trying so desperately to move forward, but we're just feeling like, you know, it's too much. It's too much. Well, we allow ourselves to get pissed off. We allow the fire to take over. And look at him looking up in the air. Look at the eagle. We take the high road. We allow our righteous anger to boost us up to the high road. We go back inside, you know, we tap into the emotions here. We express what we need to express, because that 10 can talk about going into maybe some emotional overload, emotional overwhelm. So this talks about going inside and bringing out what is inside. And then we have the Four of Cups at the end again. These, you know, you guys that have been with me for a while here and watching these, every single week, out of 78 cards, deck after deck after deck, they just come up with the same things over and over and over again here. So, all right. And here's intuition again. Holy shit. All right, so Four of Cups, and here we see this turning inward. It almost feels like coming off of this emotional high, back down into checking in with yourself, taking care of yourself in a practical way with meditation, with doing whatever you have to do to keep your nervous system balanced. Because Four of Cups says there's no fulfillment here. We go from kind of fulfillment back into that dissatisfaction. All right, catching up with notes here. Emotions are just a data delivery system. Yes, you need to be able to pick up on the emotional pulse of what's going on around us, but we need to truly listen to the ones that belong to us individually. That's wonderful, Samantha. By sitting with and not dwelling on an emotion, that's how it delivers information to us. That's right, by feeling it. By feeling it. And staying out of the story. So, you know, what we tend to do, rather than feeling it, which is in the body, is we do go into the mind and the storyline, and we start talking about why we are right and they are wrong, and, you know, all this kind of stuff. So sitting with it means staying in the body, staying with the energy. And what that means is, and Page of Cups I always look at as, you know, the spiritual practice card. You sit and you identify, where is it in my body? You know, first of all, can I name the feeling I'm having? And once I can recognize it, where do I find it in my body? Do I find it in my stomach? Do I find it in my chest? Do I find it in my throat? Do I find it in my crotch? You know, sometimes when we're afraid, your root chakra tries to crawl up to your crown. Where is it in my body? And then there's that wonderful practice of Tonglen, where wherever the feeling is, you breathe it in. Bring it on. Come on. Bring it. I want to feel it to the ultimate. 10 of Cups. I want to feel it to the ultimate. Breathe it in. I'm going to feel every bit of it. And then you breathe it out and feel it expand. Right? Okay. And we've got intuition coming up again here. Balance. There we go. Balance, balance. So yeah, and the balance between, you know, emotion and intuition, as you were saying, Samantha, that, you know, our emotions let us know how we're receiving what's going on outside of us. They let us know where our boundaries are getting stomped. They let us know where we are recognizing a pattern. You know, if we get triggered by something, we're recognizing a pattern from our past that needs to be completed, that isn't completely healed. So it can take us back into those patterns. And our intuition, you know, we have to give voice to what we're feeling. We can't just drown it with food, bury it, explain it away. We have to process. I always say, you know, having an emotional experience and not feeling the feelings is like eating a meal and never taking a shit. You have to process it through. I want one more, Tara. So this is talking about the physical part of emotions. And always, you know, don't hesitate to go, you might even want to make a list of movies, songs, poems, things that are guaranteed to make you cry. Just guaranteed. Because if you can't get to your feelings, if you're Plutonian like me, Scorpio moon, you can't get to them. They're in there. I know that I just can't make it happen. You need a catalyst sometime. So that can talk about going to, you know, something practical that can catalyze the release and the expression of emotion. But this Page of Cups I want to come back to here because it does talk about a discipline. It does talk about a practice that you do on a regular basis to stay connected to yourself, to stay connected to your own feelings. So as always, we really need to take care of ourselves. We're going through a lot. All of us are. It's excruciating to see what's happening in Ukraine and to feel like we're doing nothing. You have to know that there's an awful lot going on behind the scenes. Oof. But it's the not knowing, you know, it's being in that place of not knowing, and that's the hardest place to be. So we were talking a couple weeks ago about that. How do you be in the abyss? You know, how do you cope with doubt? That quote by Keats. So, oh, did you see those shoot out of there? Oh, they're the intuition, fire, and balance. Okay, they went right on the bottom. Water and air, yes, out pops fire. Ba-ba! Yep, identifying and releasing or retrieving patterns from past lives. Yeah, from past lives and from this lifetime too. You know, I'm working on completing that, like, the biggest karmic cycle of my life over the last year. So many things are coming to completion and fruition. Okay, so we have either 3 or 6. Give me a 3 or 6. That's a 2. Give me a 3 or 6. That's a 1. Give me a 3 or 6. Where are you? That's a 4. Okay. Give me a 3 or a 6. That's a 2. Give me a 3 or 6. That's a 4. 6. I'm nothing if not persistent. Okay. Yep. Okay. Well, here we go. Holy my. Holla mala. let's just go here. Oh, looky, we have 6 cards. All right. We have the butterfly, beauty. This is one of the animal guides. So we have guides, we have messengers, we have guides of fairy. So animal guides of Avalon, the messengers of Avalon, the guides of fairy. Then we have the sacred journey markers. So there's lots of categories here. All right, let's see what we got. Beauty, the butterfly, the bard, music, poetry, myth, history, the enchantment of storytelling, and the fire fairy, creative action and optimism. And you know what? Is this this is a collaborative deck. I didn't know that. Hold up. Let me see here. Colette tends not to name her artists, and this is an early deck, so I don't expect to have artists here, but yeah, about the author. Yeah, she doesn't. This is one of the things that put me off her. Illustration, Gary Lippincott. Okay, maybe there is only one artist. They look very different. Let me see here. Nope. Okay. All right, Gary, here we go. Butterfly, bard, fire fairy, creative action, and optimism. So, definitely centering ourselves in the Venusian things of beauty. Where do we find beauty now? How do we create beauty in these times? And we know, you know, those of us that lived through the 60s, when times get tough and the people start to rise, the arts explode. We see so much being expressed through music. There's a band called Bloodywood. Oh, looky, this turned itself around too. Holy shit, you guys. It's like hard ass metal. So if you're not into that, leave it alone. But I don't remember the name. But the thing is, it's Bollywood. It's like Bhangra beat, and this metal, the but it is just incredible. And there's rap. There's a guy singing in you know, an Indian language, and then there's a rapper and something in it, and they say, you know, about the rising, the fury of the third world. And I remember watching that. And then they also have a video where there are these dancers, and the main dancer is painted as Kali Ma. She is painted blue, and I'm watching this, and my reaction, first of all, it just blew me the fuck back in my chair, knocked me back in my chair. I sat there, I got chills, I cried. I was just like, because there was so much fury. And I'm talking about the first one, not that, I'm going to look this up, you guys, because I just want you to get a load of it. Because the third world is rising. You can't keep people down when they can communicate with each other the way we can globally. And Kali Ma has been called. She was called, I can't remember whether it was before or after the election in 2016, where I think it was in Kuala Lumpur, they projected this huge image of Kali Ma on a skyscraper, and I thought, duck and cover, baby, here she comes. We are dealing with Kali Ma energy right now. This invasion, these things where these infections are coming to a head and erupting. This is Kali Ma at work. So let me Bloodywood, Gadar. It's called Indian folk metal. Yowza. Let me drop a link for you here. I just want you to catch this vibe. If you don't like metal, don't watch it, because it's intense. It is super intense. It's the kind of intense I like. So, oh, I never realized that. God, I hope you guys haven't heard like an echo this whole time, because I never muted my video. Anyway, the third world is rising. People are rising. The internet and social media has been the great equalizer. It has put us all on an equal footing. And, you know, this is why it needs to be a utility and available to everyone equally. But shit's a coming. So anyhow, I don't know how I got past on this tangent, but anyway, we've got, oh, I was talking about how the arts explode in times like these. Well, here is talking about beauty and music and poetry and the fire of our passion and our creativity. And look at how can we bring forth what's in us, the frustration that we're feeling, the grief that we're feeling, you know, the confusion that we're feeling. Bring it out. It doesn't have to be professional quality. This is another thing that our culture has done with the creative, is to commodify it. That, you know, to be a musician, you have to make, you know, make it and be filthy rich and tour the world in order to make it worthwhile to do. No. You get to define your own success. Okay, we've got restriction. We've got love. And we've got truth. So, Butterfly and the Bard coming into restriction here. And then we've got the Bard and the Fire Fairy coming into love. So, when we pour our love and creativity in, I mean, we'll... Hold on. There's more to come here, you guys. What did I do? There, I did. Beauty, restriction, truth. Okay, so when things get ugly, and we feel like beauty is restricted, remember that there's a difference between pretty and beautiful. Pretty is pleasing. It's lovely to look at. It pleases us. It makes us smile. But beauty, in terms of truth, beauty that shows the truth, can be intensely difficult to witness. Death can be beautiful. Things that we would consider ugly or very unpretty can actually be beautiful, because beauty is a universal. Beauty is a spiritual value. It goes so far beyond pretty and pleasing. Beauty is truth. Truth is beauty. Who said that? I don't remember. But beauty is truth. And we've got restriction coming here. So I want to do this. Oh my goodness, look at this. Death. Okay. So yes, you know, the truth and beauty that's coming up here, we're witnessing death on a lot of levels. We're witnessing the death of old value systems. We're witnessing the death of restriction, people in power wanting to restrict. And these deaths are necessary in order for truth to manifest. And here we've got the Deer, gentleness and diplomacy. And you know what? I actually did ask this deck what it wanted to tell me. And this one came out and this one came out earlier. And then this was the third one. Okay. I think I'm amazing myself, and there isn't anything to be amazed about, because I think I did turn them the other way. So these are the three that came out that wanted to talk about. Merlin is alchemy, justice, balance. Here we go. Justice, balance, and truth. And we've got death and gentleness on one side and the other. So here we need to be willing to let things die. We need to be willing to let things go gently. We've got creative action and optimism here, love and gentleness. These things can still exist while we're going through these incredible times and watching death on a mass scale, you know, on a physical level, as well as a political level, as well as an intellectual level. We watched over the pandemic the death of relationships because of people's choices. We've seen so much loss, so much loss. But we are coming into truth and balance. Look at the earth symbol there. I like the symbols that are on some of these. Okay. Wow. So if I take these three out and look at this again, restriction, love, truth. I think what that is saying, you know, even if we are feeling restricted, even if we're feeling powerless and hopeless, just keep pumping out the love. Keep pumping out the love. And what is it that you said, Tavia? Look at the sky. Even in a dump, war, disaster, there's beauty in the sky always. Think about the end of Lord of the Rings, when Frodo and Sam are outside of Mount Doom. They've dumped the ring, and they're sitting there, and they're just like, it's done, there's nothing more to want, we're gonna die here, and it's okay, whatever. And oh no, it's before they go into the mountain, I think, and Frodo is just struggling, and Sam looks up and says, look, Mr. Frodo, and you can see a little patch in these orange smoky clouds that opens up, and you can see the sky and the stars. So excellent advice, Tavia. There's always something to see. Always. And we don't let our love be restricted. You know, how do we deal with restriction? Okay, healing. Healing comes up there. Where we feel restricted is where we need healing, and where we need to project our love, to pour our love, to express our love. That voice card that came up before. We're getting at the truth, you guys. And we also need to witness, because those of us that, you know, the silverbacks here, please listen to the young ones. Please listen to them. Don't do the old kids these days, just don't understand it, blah, 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 blah. That's kind of that Six of Cups, wanting to go back to the way things were in the past. These kids have experienced a life that we can't even conceive of. We were ducking under desks to hide from the bomb. But, you know, with active shooter drills and the trauma that these kids have been through, we need to listen to them. We need to listen to their voices. We need to listen to their creative expression. We need to not restrict our love for them. And where we feel like we want to hold back is where we need healed. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of it. So we need to heal ourselves past this sense of restriction that we're feeling. And be willing to let things go, let things die, let the old be dead, so that we can bring things back into balance again. Okay. Like a snake shedding its skin. John Keats again. Okay, yes, all right. Absolutely. Now, the last one is the Light Seers. Not the Light Seers. The Starseed. Light Seers is a tarot deck. This is the Starseed. Let me see if who's needing me here. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, my dear. Stephanie just sent me a wonderful donation. Thank you. Bless you. Bless you, my love. You don't know how much it means to me. It really does. And you know, this is my past trauma, because love in my family was material love. And that's a difficult thing for an empath. And, understanding my mother as she was dying, as she was coming to her crossing over, and understanding that she was traumatized as well, and how I could never connect with her. There's no core there. A narcissist doesn't have a core. That's why they're arrogant. Everything is wrapped up in the externals. There's nothing to connect with internally. So this little empath, trying to connect with mama, and there just being emptiness there, which was filled with material love. Okay, Starseed, lift us up. Come on. Lift us up. What do we need to know? What would you like to tell us about? I did not interview this deck. What would you like to? Okay, there we go. We have Whale and Orca Elders, share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. So while we are listening to the art and the music and the poetry and the expression of the young ones, we have our own song to create, and we can create it in answer to them, in support of them. We are the elders, and we have to be willing to change and evolve, and they can lead the way. I want to cry. They can lead the way. They are leading the way. They are teaching us how to communicate with each other. They are teaching us how to respect each other. They are teaching us that there's not such a thing as normal. That there's more infinite variety. You can't have more infinite. There's infinite variety in how people express themselves, and it's all sacred. And we need to be willing to change our minds. Called Soul Gifts and Training. It's time to step up. Jump in, Andromedan energy adventures. Say yes to change. Say yes to change. It's time to step up. Our soul gifts are calling. We have wisdom to share, but we need to make sure that it's fresh, it's current wisdom. We need to make sure that we are grounded in the here and now, and not, we can reference our past, and we have wisdom from that to pass on, but we need to be careful that we're not trying to just recreate the structure of the past when we uncovered that wisdom. We need to work at leading them to uncover their own wisdom in their own context. I don't know the words that I'm saying until they come out of my mouth right now, you guys. Okay. A new earth. It's happening. Keep holding the vision. Shit. The courageous peony, multifaceted, unique nature. Let yourself be seen. Why do I want to cry? Why do I want to cry? Because the truth is coming through. Deep cellular healing, Arcturus energy, physical and emotional healing. So we must bring ourselves in our healed form to the youngers. We can no longer get by putting our crap onto them. We have kicked the ball down the road to where once we're gone, they're going to be dealing with the choices that our generation has made for such a long time. For the rest of their lives, they're going to be dealing with it. So we need to listen to them now, and we need to give them now the power, the sense of power. help them tap into their inner authority and let them take the fucking reins. I am so tired of old white men in government. I'm tired of it. Pyewacket's tired of it too. He's sneezing. Did you see Pyewacket back there? There he is. So we need to be so willing to let them take the reins, to relinquish. Here, you take it, please, and give them the power and the resources to do that. We've got gifts, they have gifts. What we need to do is help them bring their gifts forward. So give them the support we need, and the wealth of our experience is in about resources. Here are the resources you got. Here's everything I can throw your way so you can accomplish what you're here to do, and right soon. That right early. Instead of once we're dead, now you guys can take over. No, they need to take it now. They need to take over now. Because a new earth is happening. We're in change. We're in flux. It's not coming. It's here. They are unique. They are evolved. They're evolved. I read something recently that said, oh, evolution isn't happening right now. Evolution's kind of over with. It's not happening. About laughed my ass off. I'm like, are you kidding? Do you see the neurodivergence? What we call neurodivergence is evolution. How about that? What do you think about that? Do you agree? I sure do. And if we let them do this, we can come to this deep cellular healing, this Arcturus energy, physical and emotional healing. I don't need any clarifiers on this. Damn. Oh my God. Good grief is right. Good grief is right. And when I read and big truth comes rolling through, it moves shit. It moves shit. When the ground starts heaving, the truth is coming through and the waves start rocking, and woo. So, wow. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much to this deck. What a fabulous deck. And I hear my phone going off again. I'm going to look. Oh, that's my daughter sending things. Don't you know I'm on a live stream, kid? She does. She just forgets. Okay. Neurodivergence, tip of the iceberg. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The changes. And when, just watching my children and both of them have been working diligently to understand themselves. That first job of incarnating here, know yourself. Know what you've got to work with. Know your story. Know what you're here to work out. So they are working so hard on getting properly diagnosed so that they can understand themselves and find their best way forward, so they can recognize their gifts and find out what does need to be remedied and balanced. Certain things need to be maintained, need to be managed so that the gifts can come out. If we don't manage the things that are difficult, we can't express our gifts. So, and in so doing, the work that they're doing is leading me to understanding myself more, because they've got genetic things, and it's like, well, guess who those come from? They have another half too, but one thing in particular with my daughter being diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, I have it too. My shit bends too much, and it's reframing my entire brain as far as the things I deal with. It's changing the whole backdrop of my medical care. So these young ones are working so hard to understand themselves. And in so doing, they will discover what their place is on this planet. They will discover the gifts that they're here to bring forth. This is why I stand up and cheer, witch talk and all the tarot readers out there, these young ones with their channels and the things that they're doing with decks and modifying decks. I'm like, go, go, go. Yes, it is time to pick these things up. All these kids that have been raised by witches, you know, maybe not raised with witchcraft or raised in, you know, indoctrinated, but just raised by a witch, and around this they have this permission from the get-go to step outside of the Western Christian box, step outside of those Abrahamic religions and find their own. And I applaud. Now we need to help them find their power. Now we need to step aside and usher them into the seats of power. All right. Grandbabies boggle my mind on a regular basis. Yes, yeah, I know. My great nephew, who's turning 2 in 4 days, is incredible. Just brilliant bright lights in these kids. So I'm very, very glad that we ended with the light, or that's not the light seers, it's the Starseed. I'm very glad that we ended with the Starseed, because that really did lift us up, didn't it? It really did. Yay. All right, you guys. We are at an hour and 52 minutes. It just turned over, and I think we're gonna bring it to rest here. You know, it's nice when we start from the bottom and we kind of work our way up. As always, I am so grateful for you being here. I'm grateful for my little channel. I'm grateful for growing just nice and slow and organic, you know, and hitting 1,500 today. Booyah! And we'll see, you know, I tend to put on, I'm taking on about 50 a month-ish. And I'm just kind of waiting for, you know, one of these days I'm going to do something that's going to go nuts. I thought maybe it would be that full moon chart, but, you know, whatever. I like things growing slowly. But I'm so grateful for being able to sit here and play with you every Wednesday night. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. Thank you for all your feedback. You are wonderful readers as well. You have wonderful insight as well, and I'm so grateful for those of you that share it with all of us. Okay, I'm finishing up with messages here. Don't normally do purely magical stuff around the grandkids all the time. Yep, dropping seeds here and there. Okay, granddaughter who was 5 was playing with the stick. She placed it on the swing and stepped back, and I asked her what she was doing, and she looked at me with only the disdain a 5-year-old can muster and went, "I'm charging it in the sunlight, Nana. You should know that." That's like my daughter when she was 3 and met Cliff for the first time. Cliff, my now husband, her daddy. And she had this egg sucker, and she climbed up on the couch next to him. She popped that egg out of her mouth and went, "I love you, and I give you good blessings." Now that kid was raised around rituals, so, you know, but she's a natch, you know, it was so natural for her. The psychic stuff that's come out of her is another thing. You are very welcome, Deb, and thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Tavia. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, everyone. Becca, thank you so much for being here. I will see you guys next week on Wednesday night and on an unboxing here and there between now and then. Until then, I send you all my love and blessings, and till I see you next time, blessed be.